Hey yo, it's Icky. Gonna do a quick little preview of our playoff matches before we get started today. Um, just gonna jump right into it, like I said, because not very much time before the first match happens. So to start with, here's an overview of our matchups. We're just gonna run through them real quick from top to bottom here. First up, Shadow Visions is our one seed. He's facing the lowest seed, which is Kago, who is the 16. Um, and personally, I think just a quick little thing. This is the amount of series wins I expect each player to get. Just a little fun preview thing with the check boxes. I think Shadow Visions is definitely going to win the series, despite the Huntbot head-to-head showing a Kago one win in six. I do not think that this is going to be a particularly close series, with all due respect to my boy Kago. Um, and I think I'm going to skip right on ahead to a more interesting series, which is going to be Turk versus Barbarica. This is a very interesting series because this is a series that Turk on paper is favored in, based on seeding, based on the fact that uh, he actually won the series previously in the regular season. Um, but I I do think that Barbarica, based on recent form, is the favorite. Taking Shadow Vision to a game five, and the fact that I genuinely have not seen him play as well as he did against Shadow Visions in a very long while with his internet fixed. I'm personally leaning towards Barbarica. I expect it to go to game six or game seven, though. Next up, we have Connie versus Jacob. Um, and Connie's in pretty solid form. And I will say Jacob did survive a scare in the play-ins, very nearly actually lost out to Calais, which would have been a very insane upset. I think at least um, based on more recent form. Calais of old would probably think it wouldn't be an upset, but this is not Calais of old. I'm thinking Connie should win this one. I could see Jacob stealing a game, especially in the last second, as is his specialty. Have not played each other previously on Huntbot, and so I don't have any real data to go off of between these two. E-Guy versus DK. E-Guy is one of the oldest players in terms of experience in the tournament. Obviously, has finished second a few times. Has not ever gotten over that hump. Um, and we do have some data to go off of, which is that E-Guy and DK have played 10 Huntbot matches, and E-Guy's won 8 of them. They have not played each other in a tournament setting, though, so I'm going to be a little more reliant on recent form and then Huntbot head-to-heads. So, yeah, I'm going with E-Guy over DK 4-2 here. Frostfire versus A Game, and I do feel for A Game because I will say the draft system absolutely does not favor him. Um, it's tough when your best maps are the ones that are going to come up as everybody else's kind of least favorite maps. I think there's not very many people who are big fans of Pyramid, for example, outside of maybe Shadow Visions and Mistrox, but I don't even know if Mistrox likes it that much. I think just think they're he's pretty good at it. So, but I think Shadow Visions does like it. But like I said, A Game, that is A Game's favorite map and is going to be a straight up just instant ban from Crossfire. So lack of map pool depth, I think, is what's going to be hindering A Game the most. As for Frosty, um, he's been in great form. Only had one loss in the entire time outside of his match with Shadow Visions, which was a 3-0 sweep, but that was week one. That was ages. That was ancient history at this point. Frostfire has only dropped a single game since that sweep. So I do think Frostfire should be winning this one pretty handily, but if we know A Game, it's that he could realistically steal one game. He did steal a game off of Zedron previously, so in last season's tournament. So we'll see. We'll see how it was there. Jean versus Misty. This is going to be my first, and I think only, seeding upset. I have Mistrox advancing between these two. I don't know how much John is actually going to be able to slow down Misty. John's strategy primarily relies upon Mega Marbles and being more precise than fast with his movement. He still can be quick at times, but he's not as quick as Mistrox. And I think if the map pool's more unfortunate for John, I could see this being even worse than being a 4-2. But if there is one thing to be said for John, is that Tournament John is very real. And I do think that regardless of who wins this series, either one of these players is very much a force to be reckoned with in the lower bracket. Next up, we're going to My Game versus Wilch. And we already know someone's going to be shooting gifts in the chat afterwards, which, considering my shithousery, I'm going to say that is maybe an advantage to me for that, because just with the memes and all that, I play pretty well with the memes. Humpbot head-to-head is 10-2 in my favor. I've generally stuck with that. I do think Wilch has the ability to steal at least one game from me, maybe two if he's having a good day, but we'll see what happens there. I don't want to make too many general assumptions about my own performance. And then our last game is going to be MBO versus Endy, which, interestingly enough, it's weird because I'd put these two around the same skill level, but for completely opposite reasons. Um, like MBO's skill is entirely in precision, map knowledge, just generally being methodical and really rarely making a mistake. Whereas Endy is genuinely just the fastest man to ever touch this game, and he is prone to making mistakes at times, which is his big hindrance. But with that being said, I do think overall MBO should see this through with some with more generalized experience. Um, but yeah, these are my bracket predictions, and I hope that these series end up being as entertaining as I expect them to be. Sorry, this video it wasn't longer. I was hoping to have a little more time, but the first series is going to be starting tonight, so I just wanted to go ahead and get this out of the way. So that is where I'm going to leave it off. Thank you for watching.